we're now being joined by Dr. Tara Karta, former Director of National Security Council Secretariat and former Senior Fellow at the US Institute of Peace. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. As you know, my colleague and I, we were just talking about how Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has summoned the meeting of the National Command Authority. That's the prime body responsible for Pakistan's nukes. Once again, we're seeing this nuclear rhetoric coming out of Pakistan, a nuclear bogey that's been called off multiple times. I just wanted to understand from you what your assessment at this point is.
See, so far precedented, what we've seen earlier is that they normally do all this nuclear saber rattling when they want a bailout, when someone to step in and stop this. You know, either the US, somebody will come and say, okay, now you have to scale it down. This time what they've got is actually an IMF loan from a body in which the largest shareholder is the US. So that for them is not either it is I don't know. It's a like I said, this is not something I've ever seen before. But this signaling that of their willingness to go into the nuclear option is extremely irresponsible. I mean, at this moment, in actual fact, what you're seeing is a series of drone attacks. Neither country has used its aircraft to go inside either territory. That is how it is now. Now, at this point, you want to bring out your nuclear weapons. It's quite unbelievable. I mean, how can you be so irresponsible? But this is a signaling. Let's see what happens next. The fact that they've got their loan, which they were desperate for, whether that winds up being an encouragement or a kind of readiness to back off, we'll have to wait and see. But as of now, as I said earlier, I think on your channel, what is different from Balakot, for example, is that not a single major country has stepped in to pressure Pakistan to stop this nonsense. Because what they're doing is they're defending terrorists, they're killing civilians, as you can see even in J&K. That is not happening this time.
Dr. Karta.
So,
Dr. Karta, Shivan this side. We spoke yesterday as well on this. We were talking about all the fake news that has been doing the rounds. Of course, PIB is doing an excellent work of doing the fact checks which are coming in on a regular basis. But as you just correctly mentioned at this point, that what's different from what happened in 2019 and now 2025, no country is coming forward. Of course, Turkey has been providing the drones to Pakistan, as we also heard from in the press conference yesterday. And in the armed forces within Pakistan, they have a major Chinese arsenal there as well. What kind of support do you feel Pakistan has at this point?
I mean, I was talking of those who would stop Pakistan, not those who are supporting Pakistan. Support of Pakistan has been pretty consistent over the years. This time around, like we're saying a larger number, but there is that axis of China, Azerbaijan and Turkey, which is sort of helping them in this adventure. So that itself is dismaying. Even during Kargil, China didn't interfere. They could have, done a lot of things. They didn't. This time, a lot of those nodes of analysis which one uses, you're seeing a different trend. So it's like they want to push you forward into a war. That's what I'm trying to. That's the signal I'm getting. And like you said, the most absurd claims. They're saying our missiles hit Amritsar. I mean, where does this even come from? That is what DG ISPR is announcing. Yes. Then he says we've destroyed the entire some missile base. I mean, I don't want to repeat it because that is their propaganda.
Yes,
they're saying all of this. But Nawaz Sharif yesterday had said that he would like to reach out to India, that something should be done. Let's hope, because he has a lot of contacts in the Indian political system.
Dr. Karta,
so if that
yes, you had mentioned this yesterday as well, that I had asked you about whether you feel this is going to be a protracted war, and you definitely said you hope not, and that's essentially what we're all hoping for at this point, because war is never what India wanted. India only targeted terrorist infrastructure. The escalation happened in Pahalgam from Pakistan's side. But at this point, as you've been mentioning, and this is what certain analysts are also suggesting, that Pakistan wants this war to continue. Who gains from that?
Obvious question is, Pakistan gains because then they want to bring you down. I mean, remember that whole attack, 26/11 attack was against a commercial center. They have been trying to target your economy for ages, so that you're in a miserable state of affairs. They want to bring you down into that. But well, other countries, I won't name, wouldn't mind if your economy came down, because that means you are less of a threat to them when they are going in for their own adventures. I mean, I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible.
I understand. Please. But, at this point, it's Pakistan, given the fact that they are dependent on the IMF. What they're facing internally, the entire world has seen. What's happening in Balochistan, they know. What's happening at the Durand line, they know. To have another front open with a country which is far more powerful, far more militarily, it has far more military prowess, it has a bigger armed force. There is no standing over here. But to still go on and ask, still go on and probe, still go on and, even go ahead with nuclear threats, having the NCA meeting as of now, which hasn't happened in Pakistan since 2019. They are really pushing for it. Apart from Pakistan, how they gain from it, that's a question only they can answer. But there are other players here as well, and we will leave it at that. But if you just go a little further, what's happening currently, we've heard of debris which has been found in Srinagar. There has been debris which has been found in Gurdaspur in Punjab. In Srinagar, what is being understood is that this debris was coming in from, it was jet debris, which was taken down by the Indian forces, and then in Gurdaspur it was drone debris which has been found. Drones, one understands, we saw those visuals of drones coming into Jammu as well, but in Srinagar, if a jet from the other side has landed this side, that means that they're that close to having a dogfight with the Indian armed forces in the skies.
I doubt very much if they'd use their aircraft, unless it is, I mean, that would be such an escalatory move that it is not so far. To be honest, Pakistan has been not using its best drones. They've got drones which are far better than this. So they haven't used those yet. I'm assuming they're keeping them in reserve in case the fight really goes up into a normal conventional scale. That is one. Number two is that, don't assume Pakistan is a security state. So they command, the army commands its resources.
Yes.
So they are very well equipped. There's a lot of talk in India that, they are 40 days ammunition, they will do this, that. Let's not please get into that kind of assumptions. They are a professional army, at least they're professionally equipped, I would say that. And they, like I said, they increased their October 24, they increased their allocations, these are additional allocations, by 40 billion. What kind of money is that? So, but the assumption also that Pakistan is broke in some words, they're running around looking for money. That is where I would have thought that logically the IMF should have stepped in. Their charter does not allow lending to a country which is unstable. That is the basis of the IMF. You remember it came out of the World War II, so the whole lending is about stabilizing the situation.
Yes.
That is what they're doing. So I'm assuming they're getting support from multiple sources.
Understood. Dr. Karta, thanks so much for joining us. Of course, the debris that we were referring to earlier, that could be coming from any source. It could be a jet, it could even be a missile, it could be a drone that we're finding at different places. We'll wait for the Indian Armed Forces, as we're responsibly doing right here on WION, to wait for what the Indian administration is going to share. That is what is finally proved.